A fresh and energetic morning to each one of you. I hope you all are doing well and ready to welcome March. Let's make it more powerful and motivational with today's live session. I, Mahima Sindhi, on behalf of the entire MMTU family, extend a hearty welcome to each one of you to our series of live sessions where we bring expert professionals and celebrated artists on board to share their pearls of wisdom and their juices of life experiences to learn from. In the words of Jay Baer, advertising is the art of aligning what you want people to think about your company with what people actually think about your company and vice versa. Your brand is basically nothing but story unfolding across all customer touch points. Let us all hear some insights about entrepreneurship, advertising, and lessons for life, and virtually taste the fruits of life voyage of none other than a seasoned professional director at One Advertising and Communication Services Limited, Miss Vibhuti Bhatt. We will get to hear ma'am after a short break.
पापा
हम्म?
ये थोड़ा मेरी तरफ से।
ओ बेटा बाप को पैसे दे रहा है।
अरे नहीं पापा, इट्स जस्ट अ थैंक्स।
किस बात का?
वो आपने कहा था ना, कहाँ पढ़ना है वो फैसला बड़ा होता है। जिंदगी के 4 साल का सवाल नहीं, सवाल पूरी जिंदगी का है।
Maharishi Markandeshwar deemed to be University, Maulana Ambala, preparing you for the real world.
We will get to hear ma'am very shortly. So I'll wait for ma'am to get added to the screen and then I shall take the opportunity to formally introduce ma'am.
Yeah, hi Mahima.
Hello ma'am, warm morning. How have you been?
So far so good.
It has been an absolute pleasure to have you on board, ma'am.
Same here.
Thank you so much, ma'am. So I would now take this opportunity to formally introduce ma'am. Miss Vibhuti Bhatt is a dedicated, result-oriented advertising professional with over 30 plus years of industry experience and a do better, do more, and do now philosophy. As a director, she has been profoundly leading One Advertising and Communication Services Limited, the largest advertising agency in the state with tremendous potential in a growing marketplace. Her satisfaction lies in offering flawless marketing and I'm so sorry. I think I got logged out due to a little network.
Yeah, it does happen. So
Yes,
there are certain advantages of technology as well.
actually. So continuing forward, her satisfaction lies in offering flawless marketing and advertising creative outputs to her valued clientele by developing analytical strategies, innovative ideation, and timely deliveries. Over the years, Miss Bhatt has devised, driven, and delivered 360-degree strategy and communication solutions to a wide range of regional, domestic, and international clientele from diverse industries, including pharmaceutical, healthcare, industrial, FMCG, real estate, finance, PSUs, media houses, and many more. Some of these include highly reputed brands like Coca Cola, Government of Gujarat, Tata Motors, Amul Dairy, NK Proteins, Gru Finance, now Bandhan Bank, Indian Institute of Management IIM, Rasna under Pioma Industries, Adani Gas, Kitchen Express, Shalby Hospitals, SCG Hospital, Sandesh Newspaper, Nav Bharat Times, and the list just goes endless. Let us now discover the insights of her inspiring journey. So, ma'am, we would like to hear from you about your entrepreneurial journey that you've covered so far, and how was it being a BSc graduate to then an MBA professional to now being a director at One Advertising? And I'm sure there were many moments where the road seemed blocked, but how did you discover your way out? So, we would love to hear from you, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mahima. You have been an excellent orator.
Thank you.
So the journey so far has been really very, very exciting. In fact, I remember my days when I joined Cadila as my first job. So that point in time, it was not splitted in Zydus and Cadila Pharmaceutical. So it was one strong conglomerate, heading towards being number one pharma company. It was number three pharma company at that point in time. And I started the wellness division for them. So where there was what to say, a wellness division where we started. It was like sugar free and ever youth and those kind of products which were there. At any given point in time, whenever I used to have the agency guys coming and making a presentation, so we were having Mudra, we used to have HTA, and all of them used to be so well dressed, and they used to come and make excellent presentations and all. I always used to have this dream, oh, one fine day I also should be an advertising agency.
Oh, lovely.
So I started my journey with brand management. After 5 years of Cadila, then I was with Symphony Comfort Systems Limited. They're also handling the brand management and corporate communications. But I always used to have this, love for advertising and communication, and was quite passionate about that. So I realized that I really want to unfold myself, and should use all my capabilities to the fullest. I should be in the business of advertising. And I always feel that once you have a clarity on why, then how becomes very easy.
Right. Very true, ma'am.
So, I was very clear in terms of my capabilities and, where I should be heading, and then switched over to the other side of the table. The first advertising agency that I worked for was MA Bozil, that time our first, leading advertising agency, which has built brand like Prestige. You would still remember those Prestige ads, pressure
And all of
cooker
that,
and all,
right.
jo bhi se kare pyare types. So they wanted to start, their pharmaceutical and healthcare wing here in India. So that was the time I joined them, and they thought that I have that little pharma background and can be of help. So that was my first journey in advertising. But I virtually used to feel very uncomfortable initial days, because was not knowing how and what to do. But then
Right.
my brand management experience was of great help in advertising, because normally what happens is, usually you have people sitting on the other side of table in advertising agencies. They really don't have worked with the brand management, and they have not worked in the field, they have not worked in the sales.
Right.
So with
Exactly.
me, what happened was, I used to think from client's perspective. Everything and anything I would suggest to them, I would always think, with their perspective, and then that helped the brands to be very successful at the marketplace.
Ma'am,
So
one
I would
little
not
question.
only,
Yeah, ma'am,
yeah,
one little question here, since you said that you used to think from the client's perspective. So what I've seen usually is when we, talk about, let's say, a designer who's designing a logo for a particular brand. So the designers over there struggle with what are the expectations of the client vis-a-vis
yes,
how he expresses that. And then there's a lot of
true.
gaps. So any light over there as well, ma'am?
Right. So I would just like to give you one example over here. About 4 or 5 years back, we developed a very nice campaign for Adani Gas. Now, their brief was very clear that they wanted to increase their sales, and they also told me that we have the experience that advertising agencies usually come up with very, rosy looking artworks and all, and those artworks never help us in terms of gaining business. So since the brief was very clear, we made sure that we did a lot of research. And through the research, we found out that, when it comes to uh, converting from, your traditional gas bottles to PNG gas, pipeline gas, there's a lot of apathy.
Correct.
At the same time, what happens is, people also consider uh, PNG to be very expensive. Many of them also had this apprehension that when it comes to gas bottle, it is too much of a load, because you have to lift it, you have to, change it, book it, and what not you have to do. So quite a few of them in the research, the consumers, they came up with this word load. So we thought, let us use this word load in our communication as a central thought, and we developed a campaign where we said load na lo, Adani PNG lo.
Oh, lovely.
Hmm.
That's
So
exciting.
that campaign really did very well, because we always make sure that we get into the consumer's mind and heart and dig out what is bothering them, and
Correct.
what is it which can help us, if it becomes a central thought. So then
Correct.
rest of the things are very easy. Once you crack the central thought, then rest of the things are pretty easy. And we never leave at doing a campaign. So we
Exactly.
said that, if we do a campaign and this is a responsive campaign, we are asking consumers to call.
Right.
And so once consumers call, then what we should be doing is, we should have a setup at client's end, call center and everything. And we should get into the depth of how the calls are going to get diverted, and how the
Exactly.
calls are being responded, and how
Hmm.
the calls should be segmented. And
Right.
we said that, a lot will depend on your sales guys, because we will generate calls.
Hmm.
You will have to make sure that the segmentation of calls is done properly, and it gets diverted to sales guys. The sales guys should be motivated enough
Right.
to go
So that
out and
journey
convert.
from creating the lead to then converting the lead into an
Yeah,
actual.
so we launched a internal communication also,
Oh,
saying
great.
that make 1 + 1 11. Let's paint the town yellow. And
Oh,
then it was an ongoing campaign. So like we used to talk about, so and so person has sold so many connections, what about you? So a lot of
hmm.
internal competition. Then we were having RJ Dhwanit as the brand ambassador. So we took him to Adani's office, and he motivated all the sales guys.
Hmm.
So a lot of efforts, and then we analyzed each and every touch point. So we made sure that, we have a van which goes to the societies rather than waiting for them to call. And we
Right.
made sure that, this vans would give instant connection for 600 rupees. So lot many online offline activities, a complete 360-degree thing. We started with teasers, and we ended with a Thanksgiving kind of ad.
Right.
You will
So it
not
was a whole
believe.
journey. It was a whole
Yeah,
journey.
yeah. And they could achieve their sales targets 3 times more,
Hmm. Lovely.
than what figures they had thought of. So I always have been thinking from client's perspective, and that helped me in advertising. Although that initial what to say, that inertia was
Correct.
there, I also used to be little conscious as to whether, because we also have a people at One Advertising who are very unlike advertising people. We are very
Okay.
down to earth, we are very docile, we are not about more style and less stuff.
Hmm.
So
I
sometimes
think
if people
so.
meet us, they don't even recognize us as advertising professionals,
I think,
right?
ma'am, from hearing what you've said, I would say the one statement that I've always heard that goes pretty well with you: less is more. So you guys believe in less is more.
Yes, exactly, exactly. And then I came across this opportunity to, start One Advertising. Here the journey so far really has been very, very, what to say. Although there has been a roller coaster kind of things, when there was problem in getting business, or when the economic conditions have not been very lucrative. So at
Right.
those point in time, definitely we had to, sort of change things and adapt to the change, and only because of that we could survive. So
Right.
I was asked, the proprietor of this agency are Mr. Binesh Chodgar and Mrs. Bindi Chodgar, and they are also the owners of Intas Pharmaceuticals. And in every pharmaceutical company, you have an in-house studio.
Right.
So here, instead of having an in-house studio, we thought that let us have a complete, full-fledged, advertising agency, full service kind of advertising agency. Because what happens is, you usually have a studio, but the studio does not have a capability other than the visualization. So all the
Correct.
work goes out to the advertising agencies, and right from the confidentiality to the response time, everything becomes an issue. So what we did was we started this full service agency for them, and over and above Intas and the pharmaceutical vertical, we parallelly also started another vertical which used to service big clients. Like today we have Adani Gas, Coca-Cola we used to manage, Rasna we have in our basket, so many other big clients, and that brought in a lot of competency to the agency, right?
Right.
Then what happened was that, okay, fine, you have two business verticals, you have started working for the in-house client and all, the parent organization, but the initial challenges were there, and those were in terms of, one was in pharma you have a lot of quantum of work. So
Correct.
to make sure that you deliver everything on time, that was another challenge. On the other side, you have clients like Coca-Cola, Adani Gas, and those big brands, where apart from, like in pharma, you have quantum as well as quality you have to deliver, but here the quantum of work is very less, but the
Okay.
depth has to be very high, and you
The
have to make
impact is
sure that yeah, you compete with other advertising agencies also, otherwise this kind of big clients any agency will take over overnight. So we made sure that we differentiate ourselves from any other advertising agency, number one. So all the advertising agencies used to focus more on their media billings at that point in time. We focused more on brand building.
so
We
this
were
was your
one of the
USP
first,
at the time.
yeah, and we were one of the first agencies in Gujarat to introduce a practice of charging fixed monthly retainer fees to our clients, and that also helped us to a great extent. I remember media guys coming and telling me that, if you don't focus on media, and like we have media planning, buying, operations, and we do it very very efficiently also, but it is like we also do media planning, buying and operations.
Correct.
Our core competency always has been a sort of brand building, and this I'm talking about 20 years back. I'm not talking about, because today quite a few of them are doing it. The overall scenario is very different.
Changed.
So
Right.
people used to think that how are we going to earn, right? So I would just like to bring certain things to your notice, that when others were focusing on the commission, we focused on the retention of the clients, right?
Right. I think that is
So when
something that's
others were focusing on local, we thought of national. So what we thought was, we brought the national level art directors and copywriters on the board, and that's how we started differentiating in terms of the quality of deliveries. And when others were focusing on themselves, we thought of our clients. As I told you, okay, we don't only think of clients, customers, consumers, but we think of clients as well, and that made a lot of difference. And when others were focusing on establishing themselves, we thought of creating brands. I remember when we signed Grew Finance, that was the time every advertising agency said no to Grew. They were in reds. So no advertising agency wanted to sort of get associated with them, because every advertising agency wants to establish brand,
correct.
because they have a big advertising budget, and it becomes far more easier to what to say, do a campaign and get a lot of appreciation in the market for the established brands. It's
Correct.
very
Correct.
difficult to handhold the startups. It's very difficult to handhold the brands who are actually facing some problems at the marketplace,
Exactly.
right? So from that level, what we did was we made Group, like when it was taken over by Bandhan Bank, it was one of the biggest housing finance company in the country. And not only that it was one of the biggest housing finance company in the country, uh, it was the company which was giving highest returns on investment to the investors, right?
Amazing.
So that is the kind of rich legacy we have, and we have made sure that we do hand holding. See, today also everyone is talking about sustainability, so
Correct.
doing a campaign for any established brand, one good campaign, getting a lot of appreciation for that, and losing that client next month, or maybe after that campaign because someone else walks in, is everyone is doing, and it's not
Right.
very difficult, right? So we made sure that we understand our clients inside out. I remember, when we started working for Group Finance, they were only having 30 offices. And then, when it became number one housing finance company and all, 190 offices. They were not
Oh, lovely.
having any person dedicatedly only doing corporate communications. They were having senior people taking care of corporate communication, but all 190 offices also they were expecting us also only to coordinate. So all this kind of what to say, because client wanted us to penetrate more within themselves and client wanted us to do more, it gave us the opportunity, we grabbed that opportunity. And we were having dedicated people to ensure that they coordinate with 190 branches of Guru Finance, and not only in terms of designing the ads and handing it over to them, but overall understand their markets, overall understand, because even in terms of product development, Guru Finance was very different and has been very different. So
Ma'am,
everyone
one.
else was focusing on
Yes, ma'am.
people like you and me, who will be having a fixed salary and a salary slip. So Gru Finance developed a product called Gru Suvidha, and they were focusing on self-employed people like rickshawalas, chaiwalas, panwalas, because they also have to build house. In their
Correct.
earnings, at times, I think here we have one Ashok Panwala. They have so many. It's a chain of pan parlor, and I'm very sure they are making much more money than you and me, right?
Right.
So they
It's true.
definitely, and they should also have access to this kind of
Exactly.
things. The tuition teachers, the beauty parlor owners, right?
Hmm.
So the entire range of product that was developed for self-employed people, and
Correct.
that called for everything. Not only the product was differentiated, but everything, the way the product was delivered in Group Finance, none of them were asked to wear tie. People used to wear a ordinary shirt. The sales guys, because when a
Okay.
panwala walks into your office, he should
Hmm.
not feel out of place.
Correct. It is like dressing
So he
as per
should
the need
be
of the
talking.
customer.
They were trained to talk in the local language.
Local
So that
language.
is also something, vernacular language. That is
Correct.
something which is very important. And as I said, that we also used to develop each and every communication tool in vernacular language. I
Correct.
remember, once when we were asked to make a leaflet sort of a thing. So every housing finance would have a leaflet, and then you also make one.
Hmm.
But there was a joint exercise that was done with, their marketing team, and we developed something which is called as roadmap. So that
Okay.
roadmap, showed you that, as a customer, if you have to take loan from group, you know what you have to do
So
at
what is the
which
way?
stage,
Mhm.
and if you do everything right as per the day wise plan which has been given by them, on 19th or on 11th day you will have the disbursement check in your hand. So
Amazing. I
that
think that
this
is
not
what.
only helped the
Right.
customer and gave a lot of clarity as to what I need to do to speed up getting loan from group, but it also made that each and every person at group who is responsible for delivering were on their toes.
And I think that is what the customer usually struggles with. I mean, let's say
Yes,
first I want to get
yes,
loan. So I
yes.
will always be calling up my, the person, my agent, that sir, iske baad kya, iske baad kya, iske
Huh.
baad kya. And then the person is left clueless कि अभी मिलेगा कितना
True,
मिलेगा
true,
उसके बाद क्या करना है. Even if I mean,
true.
let's say I fixed a short conversation with my agent. So I being a normal customer who doesn't know the technical jargons, how much can I retain at a
Very
length,
true,
right? So,
very true,
and for a person like I mean, taking your very own example that you mentioned, the Ashok Panwala, Abhi, he's
yeah,
not that educated, right? So how can
very
he
true,
get to know ki what all has is to be done? So I'm sure this
very
was
true.
a strong conviction, ma'am, that you had, that you thought of working with group finance when everybody else never wanted to. I mean,
Yes,
everybody wants to be associated with biggies. So I'm sure
below.
this was one such strong conviction that you had. Lovely, ma'am. That's
And
amazing.
so two business verticals, one pharma and one, the other than pharmaceutical. If like if you do well initially, then you have to compete with yourself. Definitely, the
Right.
expectation of people will rise more. So
Correct.
then, we had to make sure that we develop other competencies also. And the first PSU client that we signed was GACL, and we are till date working with them. So we thought, let us enter into government and the associated PSUs and all. And that was the time when Mr. Modi, honorable our prime minister, was a chief minister here, and he knows branding, advertising, communication so well. So there was a lot of pressures on the PSUs also to
Correct.
boost their communication, and have better presentations, work on branding. So that was the time Mr. Taneja took over GACL. And when we went there and made a presentation to him, he thought that we will be able to do justice to whatever vision he was having for GACL. So we entered into PSUs and government of Gujarat, and we really did very well that year. I think we boost our what to say, the bottom line almost three times.
Okay. That's great.
So, every time you have to think that now how you will adapt
Hmm.
to the newer things and how you should grow further. But then, what happened was we were developing more and more competency because of our parent organization in pharmaceutical industry. Uh, we thought, let us use this competency, you know, of understanding pharmaceutical as a segment. And that was the time that SCG was about to be launched in Ahmedabad. And there were many hospitals coming in, and all the hospital chains were trying to, what to say, expand, and
Hmm.
they were doing very well. And they needed a lot of branding kind of exercise, and more so inside out kind of a branding. So that's where
Correct.
we got associated with SCG, we got associated with Narayana Vidyalaya, Shelby, and we developed competency in terms of handling hospitals as one vertical. So over a period of time, then what happens? Whatever you do, it gets saturated. So
I
growth,
was about
uh,
to I was about to,
although you
ask
add
the
one
question.
client every year, but then
Correct.
how many such big clients are also there, who will spend on advertising. So what we thought was that we have a very good set of clients with us, including the parent organization. Now it's time that we should penetrate deep,
Hmm.
and we are only doing advertising, branding and communication for them. So we should start doing events, we should start doing films for them. We should also start taking up print production and fabrication for them. So developing the stalls, exhibition stalls, organizing events. So we made sure that we sort of develop more functional verticals, and penetrate more into and
Hmm.
earn more from every client that we were
Correct.
having. So that really helped us to
I think
keep
that is
growing.
really a great idea. I mean, having a client
Yeah.
and then sustaining them with different other options that you can offer.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
like
Yes.
it's in a very layman's language. It is like a mall that you've built. So if one goes
Yes.
to a mall, all the shops are under that
Yes.
one
All these stores are
roof.
there.
So
Yes.
why not? And also, ma'am, one more question. Like you've almost penetrated in every vertical. So you have
Yeah.
everything under your umbrella. So
Yes.
anytime you or your company felt short of creativity, I mean, was there ever there that saturation point ki abhi aur kya? Because the world wants more
Um,
and more. How is
No,
it?
I think this happens in by and large every advertising agency. Very very apt and good question. Because what happens is, if I'm working on Rasna's campaign this year, next year also I work. A work after a year after that also I work. Then there are chances that a monotony will set in. I
Hmm.
will not
Agree.
be in a position to think differently on that same brand.
Right.
Fortunately with us, what is happening is that we have very large team. We have people, about 110 people sitting under one roof. So we also have this thing of reshuffling the roles and
Okay.
reshuffling things, and we have a very nice processes within the agency. So when it comes to a brainstorming or cracking the campaign, it is not that the person who is doing a servicing only will get involved in development of a campaign. So
Correct.
that the entire core team gets involved in the campaign. And one of for the award winning campaign which we did for SCG, it was a campaign which we were asked to do for a no tobacco day. HCG, specializing in cancer care, they wanted to do this campaign for a no tobacco day, but they said that we would want to do a campaign for almost 1 month, and
Okay.
on the final day of no tobacco day, we would like to have a very big event and a grand finale and stuff like that. You won't
Correct.
believe, when we were brainstorming, we realized that when it comes to things like no tobacco,
Hmm.
either we keep listening to advices. Now
Right.
today, what's happening is our means my own daughter also will not listen to my advice. There is a question of others, coming forward to listen
Very true. Very
uh,
true.
and follow. Secondly, many ads which you keep seeing, which talks about fear because of tobacco consumption. So it
Hmm.
is, if you consume it, you will get cancer, and those kind of ads are icks. So
Right.
nobody feels like looking at those ads. So
True.
if people are not looking at the ads will definitely not work. So I
Right.
said, see, only two things are happening. One is advice, another is fear. Both the things are not working. Now, what to
Hmm.
do? So you won't believe, one of the fresher in the agency, he had just completed his MBA and he had walked into our office. He came up with this idea, saying that how about clapping hands to someone who has quit successfully.
Amazing.
So we focused on a central thought, hashtag clap for them. Hmm.
Hmm.
And
This is
apart
exciting.
from doing the regular campaign of TV ad, print ad, and hoardings and stuff like that, we developed a very very nice song for them.
Okay. That's great.
And that song was so good, it was so peppy that everyone would love to listen to it time and again. And
And
this
probably come.
campaign made, yeah, so it was meant for only the Ahmedabad office. This campaign not only got what to say, extended across the country, it helped them win international award.
Oh, that is so great. So great.
And the central thought was so much liked and loved by everyone, that it was adapted as what to say, a campaign throughout the year, inside out. So anybody doing anything good within HCG, they would say hashtag clap for them. Huh? So
That is so great.
everything and
A
anything,
diverse
hashtag
perspective to
clap for
it.
them became the central thought.
Lovely. And I think, ma'am, one message out of this conversation I would like to give to my audiences here. I mean, we have a lot of students who are hearing you out. So,
Yeah,
like you said, it was just a fresher, a very fresh graduate who had just come out of
yeah,
college, gave an idea. That idea was given seeds and that it went to an international level. So, I think
yeah.
this is what the students of today should learn, that it is okay to express whatever you have, even if
Yes,
it is
definitely,
something very
definitely.
illogical, let's say. Somebody
Very
might
true.
find the logic in it, and if brands like you are there, they would give seeds to it and it can take another level. So really
Definitely.
inspiring.
Yes.
I mean, I am
So
excited. I am excited that whenever I have something, I will not hold myself. Come
you
what may,
will,
what if it takes another level like this one? This is
yes,
such a great
yes,
example.
very true, very true.
Like,
No, we have examples from advertising agencies in past, although big advertising agencies. You would remember that Coca-Cola always used to be official partner for official drink partner for any cricket matches.
yes,
And
yes,
that was the year also when Coca-Cola could get the sponsorship of the cricket match. You won't
right.
believe, just one line which was coined by a advertising agency, a person working for Pepsi, nothing official about it. And this campaign, which he ran in between, the test matches, 100 crores of Coca-Cola were down the drain.
Oh, that is
After
so.
that, the rules changed that, if Coca-Cola is sponsoring the cricket match, Pepsi cannot advertise during those matches.
I think these controversies have always existed. I mean,
Yes.
I remember when I used to study business studies back in grade 11, 12. So Coca-Cola versus Pepsi, Pepsodent versus Colgate. I mean, they've always been. And I think, let's say a layman, somebody who's like
Yeah.
a milkman at my place, he would never understand the difference between a Colgate and a Pepsodent being different. He will think like paste hai and that paste is used to brush teeth. That's it. So I think the differentiator is important, and people like, I mean, at your place
Yes.
understand the controversies and what is right legally and what is not to be used, right?
Very true. So that's how we've entered into the hospital as a segment, and today we have mastered that segment, as well. So when we started, as I said, it was only communication and making artworks and only the print ads and all. Then, we made sure that we made it a full service agency in terms of all the other functional verticals. Then we made sure that, wherever, whichever industry we have experience in, how to capitalize on that. And overall things were very nice, rosy, growing. And then comes the pandemic, 3 years back.
Yeah.
And every client, even though the clients who were on retainer, I remember, Shelby's chief marketing officer calling me and telling that, ma'am, we have no footfalls in Shelby because we are an orthopedic hospital. Now they are multi-speciality, of course. So there are no footfalls. We'll have to either reduce or take a break in terms
Okay.
of our retainer fees. So, and this happened with quite a few other clients. Although thankfully we were also in the pharmaceutical segment, but in pharma segment also, no literatures were sent to doctors. Medical reps visit to doctor's place was stopped. So no
Right.
activities happening, on that front also. So that was the time which was a acid test for us, and we worked very hard internally, to adapt to what was happening externally. We converted all the offline events to online events overnight. We strengthened our digital communication cell. It was there, but there were hardly three people working there, so we overnight strengthened it, and whoever was having interest or they knew anything about digital communication, we transferred them to digital cell. Similar thing we did for the film division also, because with digital goes the film.
Correct.
Nowadays, people don't want to even read what you are telling; they just want to see
Correct.
the film and understand. So
Very true.
we strengthened our film division also. Fortunately, we had many brands like Tirupati Edible Oil, Kitchen Express, which are into spices and masalas and all, pharmaceutical. So at least their businesses were on, and the necessities were something that consumers were buying or were looking
Picking, and
forward to.
I think a lot of
Yeah.
new chefs were created in that era. I
Yes.
remember almost
Yes.
everybody would post a story, the emergence of a new
What have they cooked at home?
because there was nothing to do.
And
Even
you
people
had this so many males also walking in into the kitchen, and
I remember my own
you know
father getting agitated, like how one day ki, I have nothing to do and I can't step out of the gate. And I had strictly told him, we are not even opening the lock. I mean, we are not touching that. That can be a cause of virus. He's like, what do I do? I said, why don't you cook something for us? Because there was nothing else to, engage. And the news was all very sad and gloomy about everything, the same thing.
yeah,
And it was
yeah,
even
yeah, very
scarier.
depressing.
Correct. So I think the spices industry would have surely picked up there.
True.
Right.
And but then we started pitching for clients also. We said, which whoever are the clients which are active, no, we should aggressively go after them. And BJP was about to fight their local elections of Gram Panchayat and Lok Sabha, and somebody recommended our name to them, and they got in touch with us. We went all out, and we made sure that we develop mind blowing kind of a campaign for them, and we could win multi agency pitch. and this one big campaign for BJP also we could get an opportunity to do. And the results were also overwhelming, because in some of the pockets, gram panchayat, lok panchayat and all, Congress was very strong. But with the BJP's efforts, the ground level reality, and the boost which campaign gave, I think the results were just uncomparable. They won all across. So all these things, but it only happened because the changes we brought in, and rather than waiting for market to react or market to stabilize and all, we got into the action mode very very fast. And
Correct. I think you guys were very
just
proactive. People were trying to be
yeah,
active and adapting with the technology.
yes,
You guys were
yes,
proactive, and like you said, overnight the planning was done, and you'd
true,
put things
true,
to
true.
execution. Right.
So out of my total journey, so far in the business of advertising and communication and brand building, a couple of lessons for life that I would
Yes.
want people to at least listen to me, even if they don't adapt to what I say.
They will
So the
for sure.
first one is always initially be silent and steady and slow,
Hmm.
because many people have this habit of doing a lot of shosha ho ha initially.
Hmm. Hmm.
uh, so I have always preferred to be a silent player initially, establish yourself very well, reach to a point, and then shout for yourself. Create a workplace that is owned by all. I was just listening to Gaur Gopal Das yesterday on Times, and then very one thing which he said was very nice. He said, earlier days we used to live in the era of industrial revolution, and that
Correct.
time for all of us, we used to work for our survival.
Hmm.
After that came in the IT revolution in India, and with this IT revolution, more number of jobs, more opportunity for everyone. So we started working for boosting our lifestyle. Hmm? We
Correct.
started jumping, changing jobs, or doing anything for to enhance our lifestyle. And now comes the revolution with pandemic and whatever we have gone through in last 3 years. Uh, this is a revolution of a workplace.
Yes.
So now we are in an era of workplace revolution, where only if you build a workplace where people really love to come and work and give their best, then you will be able to sustain. So I'm very proud to say that we have built a workplace which is owned by everyone. I never tell any of my team member that you have to stay back and complete this and then only go. I s- Still I keep seeing my office work people working round the clock on their
Hmm.
own only. They will not leave the office till they have completed
You
their
made
job
them
role or
self-driven.
whatever. So very responsible. We are very fortunate to have people like that also, because
Correct.
today wherever we are is only because of the team that we have, and we are very fortunate to have very honest, dedicated people, very smart, but at the same time very grounded, and working hard around the clock to make clients brand successful at the marketplace.
Right.
Third thing I would like to say is to focus on growth, but consolidation is also equally important. So just growing doesn't work. So growth and consolidation should go hand in hand. Uh, it's not only that our clients and team, but we also have to make sure that people at home also support us in our this journey. So
Correct.
to get take people along, even people at home, so they should understand your business. In advertising, you have to keep burning midnight oil, and this is the case every day. So it is
Right.
not like that कि, अभी सिर्फ मंथ एंड है, पेरोल करना है, ज्यादा काम करना पड़ेगा. Or it is not कि year end है, टारगेट खत्म करना है, ज्यादा काम करना पड़ेगा. For us it is like
Every day,
day of
every
the life. So only if you get support from family, then you will be able to devote so much of time. And at the same time, you should learn how to make work life balance and give quality time to people at home. So remember, profits can be measured, lost, and regained, but reputation is something that you have
once
to
won,
make
I think
sure
it's
that
one.
you build value. And
Definitely.
not only that you build value for your business, but each and every person within your organization should be valued. You know?
Right.
So when they feel that they are valued, we have heard that at Taj, when this 26/11 happened, none of the employees left the hotel.
Actually. And I think that is a
At
great
the risk of their life, also they were there. So why they were there? If we ask this was one question to ourselves, we come to know they were there only because when you work for an organization like
support
that,
system is
they
very strong.
value you. So if you are
Definitely.
valued, then you would always like to work for the organization. Take the route less traveled, and there is less traffic there. If we would also have been a media agency like anyone else, if we would not have taken this route of being a agency which takes so much of pains, works so hard to build the brands which are lesser known at the marketplace, we would not have been where we are today. So another thing is never say no or never say quit, because it is something which is very easy. You know? Like any other agency, we could also have said no to the brands which were not known in the market.
Correct.
Be
Correct.
courageous. Temporary downfalls are always there. So I remember, at one point in time, the known number one agency at that point in time in Gujarat snatched our, nothing less than 5-7 people, and that too at one go. So
Hmm.
that was the time. For a moment, I was really taken aback, and I
Hmm.
felt, my God, now what to do? No? So
Correct.
then I realized that they have just taken couple of people from us, but like our courage, our thought process, our vision, those things nobody can take. We
Take.
can always build a team, right? So
Right.
we made sure that we built a team, and we still continue to grow. So we have
Amazing.
to be very, very courageous. Don't lose your heart on small, small things. Uh, we also have to make sure that learning, un- unlearning, and relearning
It
is
is
the way
important.
of life, right?
Correct.
And always follow your heart. I have always, many times, my HR team would tell me, okay, this candidate was very good, why have you rejected him? So I would say, somehow I didn't get good vibes from him. So they say, what is this good vibes all about? But I,
That's
I always feel that one should follow one's heart. If you follow your
definitely
heart, then it always tells you what is right and what
did
is
the
wrong.
right thing.
So
Correct.
nothing
Correct.
can compensate the hard work. That also I have learned. So throughout, though I have been topper in my school and all, but I have never considered myself as genius. Been a kind of person who uh, can just see things once, and he will be able to sort of by heart that, or remember it forever and things like that. I have to work very, very hard. And I always feel that maybe someone else is very intelligent, but he's working for less number of hours. And because I am not that intelligent, I may work for more number of hours, and that is helping me better.
Right.
Nothing. Let your family and be a part of your career journey as well. I would just like to, when it comes to changing times, something which was abnormal yesterday has become normal, a new normal today. So things are transforming, things are changing very drastically around us. I would just like to tell you one short story. You would have heard uh, this Shalutika river, which was there in Central America. Now, this river and Honduras, the place where this river is, always was known for, having floods and hurricanes and those kind of things. And that's why what happened was, people there, they thought that let us call the best people in the world. They called Japanese company to build a bridge. And a Japanese company built a very nice bridge over Shalutika River in 1996. Now, in 1998, a very strong storm and floods again hit Honduras and Choluteca River. So what happened was, within I think about 4 hours, they could get about 75 inches of rains, and everything got washed out. Only this bridge remained. Unfortunately, the roads which were taking you to the bridge also were washed out. The storm was, so strong that even river changed its course and direction.
Okay.
So although the bridge was there, it became a bridge which is taking you nowhere and above nothing, because the river which was flowing beneath the bridge started flowing besides the bridge. So today, what we want is, we don't want bridges like this, which are built to last, but we want the organizations which are built to adapt.
Right.
So if you are thinking of making, expanding and having too many number of offices across the country, working from an office place, that itself may become obsolete. Working from home can be a new normal.
That's true.
If you are trying to develop expertise on something like print production and fabrication, the world may go digital. So you are developing a specialization, you are developing expertise in something to solve a problem. The problem itself might get changed.
Correct. Correct.
So,
Very well.
whichever the startup you are thinking of, or whatever is the entrepreneurship you want to get into, number one, make sure that you get into something which you are extremely passionate about. If you love what you do, you will definitely be in a position to do a great job. If you are just working for a paycheck, then you will not be able to, deliver your best ever, and you will always keep working forcefully. So this is what I have to say. If you have any questions, I will be more than happy to answer them.
Sure, ma'am. I think first of all, I would like to compliment you in the kind when you hold your stance so firmly with a very beautiful smile. It doesn't seem that 30 years. I'm sure 30 years were not simple. It was not an easy job. It was a roller coaster ride with full of highs and lows and whatnot. But the kind of smile that you hold, which is so positive. I mean, nobody can question that you would have ever shied out with a problem that you had, and you thought that there was a way going back. I'm sure you would have. You are a person who is very
To
strong
forget
willed.
about the professional journey, in the personal life also, because I was diagnosed with a colon cancer, and that was a time when I went through a surgery, and then 6 months of chemotherapy and stuff like that. So that was also the time when people supported me to a great extent. People at work, people at office, our proprietors, directors, all of them supported so much that I could sail through those 6 months. So professionally, fine, you can face any challenges. When you face challenges like this, it becomes it was like a major shock. We always feel, that something like this can never happen to me.
Exactly.
So it comes as a shock, and but I really feel very proud of standing tall even today, because quite a few of them would end up losing their career, when they have to face things like this.
Definitely,
Credit
ma'am.
goes
Definitely.
to
But
people
I
around.
think here you are motivating lots of people out there. So kudos to you. So, ma'am, few following questions that I've been receiving that I'd like to ask from you.
Sure.
So the first question goes that businesses today have been, all sorts of forms. And the diversions have been, from a typical joint Hindu family business to a sole proprietorship to then mergers and acquisitions. And now is the era of entrepreneurs, like we all know. So, what, according to you, is the most successful type of business? Or to state, do you think startups come up with the greatest risk gamble among all?
I would say, you there is no right time and there is no right type for this startup. No,
Right.
so long as you have a clarity in terms of what you want to do. As I said, how will just come automatically the moment you started, and you have to be more action oriented, because I have seen people wasting so much of. I'm working also for a group where people don't waste time in meetings, no? So
Right.
you keep thinking and thinking and thinking, and then you don't get into the action mode. Only when you get into the action mode very fast, and if focus more on acting rather than just thinking, then things just get sorted out. However, it has been said that if you get into entrepreneurship, it's the companies which have more than one partners have done better, because it's
Right.
like more brains coming together.
One and
So
one is 11. Right. Definitely.
yeah.
Superb, ma'am. So, ma'am, moving to the next question, like we were talking about, investing into advertisements, branding, and then, spreading the word around, creating a buzz. I mean, to keep it low in the initial, like you said, as a life lesson, to make the roots very stronger, definitely exists. But then one has to create that buzz in the market for people to know who we are, right? So, for a
Right.
startup, do you think campaigning and advertising is important? And if yes, then do paid projects have a different impact as compared to the free ones? Because we all know that for a budding entrepreneur, capital crunch specifically for advertising and branding is the biggest. I mean, do they do
Right.
into put it into working capital, or do they spare out something for this? So what is your take on that?
I think branding, according to me, is important for everyone. Now,
Right.
branding not does not necessarily mean a mass media advertising. You know? Branding is all about knowing your consumers and having communicating to them well, and having a clarity in terms of who you are and what you do.
Right.
So branding is very, very important. Communication tools you can pick and choose based on the budget that is available. Number one, based on your vision, and the numbers that you want to hit, and thirdly, based on the kind of product that you have. So if you
Right.
have products which is mass marketed product like Byju's, what they have done, it has become almost $19 billion company in a very short span of time, and they could achieve this because of a very, very aggressive advertising as well. So not
Right.
only that they were having a right kind of product, but they made sure that their product reaches to more
Reach
number
them.
of people very, very quickly. So if you
Correct.
have a product category like this, so honest product can be built by a good product can be built by honest advertising. But if you
Exactly.
don't have many of them, they have a habit of shouting and branding and going out of proportion, and we have number of examples where they have spent disproportionately in the initial years without being grounded or making their product available. I am known in the market even to tell some of the clients that you should not be advertising, and the clients feel surprised that you being an advertising agency telling us not to do a campaign.
Correct.
Yeah.
I think that is a great advice. I mean, depending on what product type you are in, and like you
Yes.
said, creating a buzz is fine, but then having something when you are creating a buzz, what you're creating a buzz about, that
Yeah.
sustainability, that groundability is something that's important, right, ma'am?
Plus, you have to put your product, services, and your internal organization in place before you start advertising. So
Correct.
sometimes people start advertising, they don't, they have not even ensured, availability, or they cannot cater to the services. Then doesn't make
For sure.
sense.
If you don't have what you are supposed to deliver, then probably it's the
Yeah,
wrong way suppose you want to deliver it, right, ma'am?
very true. Very true.
So, moving on to the next question, ma'am. Advertising and branding departments have also stereotypically categorized, the roles of men and women. So, a basic advertisement as that of a detergent would always showcase a women lead, whilst on an automotive ad, we will always have men as the protagonist of the story or the ad.
Right.
We talk about men, women being equal. We talk about feminism. We talk about unbiasedness, and we all know that these brands reach masses. I mean, it's a mass com industry, put together. So, do you think it is still a hard reality for us to achieve if brands keep doing such kind of things? So, what are your, thoughts on this one?
I feel equality is a good phrase, and it is something which is it is more talked about than being practiced.
Actually.
So like being eco-friendly. You know? So that greenwash, everyone keeps doing it without
Hmm.
actually acting and doing something concrete, to
Agree.
save Earth.
Right.
Similarly, equality also has been a similar kind of thing where people keep talking about, but they actually don't act. And if we really want women to play a very important role, in the professional world, we have to make sure that she can be a homemaker, and she may have certain crucial functions which she only will be able to do at home,
Right.
but the load has to be shared equally, by each and every family member. If I'm standing here today or I'm spending time with you, I have great support of my mother, great support of my husband at home. So he would not mind making tea for me every day and making a glass of juice for me every day. So
Right.
only when you have that, then you can expect women to really grow in their professional life and play
Correct.
an important role over
Right, ma'am. Definitely. And I think the brand should start exercising this to the T,
there.
because,
Yes,
man,
definitely.
let's say somebody who's a barber, he would see what is displayed on the ad. So if we are talking about changing
Yeah,
mindsets and
this
creating boundaries,
yeah, and more brands are now doing that.
correct.
So
Right, ma'am.
the ad of Scooty was really very good, where they said that
Why the
why
boys
boys
have
should
all
have
the
all
fun.
the fun.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
share the load ad initiative by Whirlpool was also good, very good initiative. So
Actually,
I
yes,
think
ma'am.
more and more
Definitely.
brands should be doing this,
For
spreading the
sure.
awareness at least.
For sure. And I think this is the only way when the masses can actually become aware about it is okay. So
Yeah.
if somebody in the village who's just a normal regular barber, so he would never treat his wife equally until he sees the change
True.
happening on the television. And when the wife
Very
voice
true.
out, he's okay to, do
And for
what.
brands, there was era where it was era of USP. So
Right.
every brand was talking about maybe whiter than white, or just making a jingle and running it on Doordarshan, and you can make a
Correct.
brand. Then there was an era of positioning. So the smart positioning like cracked cream and all were the
Hmm.
brands which were built during the era of positioning. Now is the era of purpose.
Correct.
So the
Everybody wants a
brands which
purpose.
have a
Right.
larger purpose only are being valued and are being respected.
Actually, very
And they
true,
are
ma'am.
here to stay.
Very true. And I think the client today is very woke kind of a customer. So if the customers are woke
Yes,
today, they would always want to invest in a purpose-driven brand despite the value.
very
I mean,
true.
of course, there'll be
Very
a
true.
there'll be a particular income group that would look for the value. But people like you
Yeah,
and me, if I get a handbag, A, which is, sustainable, and B, which is not sustainable, but maybe way too chic. So I would
very
want
true.
to
Very
invest in the
true.
one that's sustainable. I would want a purpose-driven brand which I use, because that would talk
Yes.
about my personality as well. Definitely, ma'am. So moving to the almost second last question that I have, ma'am. Creating a name and booming is still a thing. We were talking about that. I think we've already, touched upon this topic while you were delivering your talk. But sustainability is where most CEOs, come out shaken. One major example being that of our most loved cafe coffee day. I mean, I'm a great coffee lover, and I was a great fan of CCD. But when I saw it, shutting down, I mean, I saw for at least 2-3 months the CCTV cafe, the vendor had, vanished. 3 more months
True.
down the line, everything was almost, left to, surpass. And then there was a new brand that came up, a new coffee brand. So
True.
what exactly is your mantra? I mean, how can the entrepreneurs today who create a brand to that extent, how can they pass, such an unshaken legacy?
Uh, I was, moderating a session which was, by Amul COO, Mr. Mehta. A couple of days back, we invited him to speak in, Ahmedabad Brand Club, and he spoke on the same topic. He spoke on sustainability because he said that is one thing which is very very important, and he talked about how quick they are in terms of launching number of products. And they say even while he was delivering the lecture, at the end of this session also he did one quick survey to find out, okay, which is the most loved Amul product. So he said there is this one mantra which we live with, is always listen to your customers, consumers. So if you listen to the consumers always tell you the way, and they exactly know how you can sustain your brand. We have this habit of not listening to criticisms, especially, and acting on it, because people like to hear all the good things about themselves,
The goody
and
feedback.
anybody criticizing them, they would just like to overlook. So if you really listen to your consumer's voice and act on that very fast, then you will definitely be in a position to build a sustainable brand. Otherwise, we have number of examples. No, we have example like Dalda, and we have example of Nokia, and we have example of so many brands who were doing very well once upon a time. They were ruling the market, and
Right.
vanished very fast because they never adapted, to the changing environment, and never listened to the voice of their consumers.
Right. Actually, ma'am, very nicely put. So the last question that I have for you is, ma'am, what is that one message that you would like to give to the idea brewers of today and the budding entrepreneurs of tomorrow?
We always have this is one sentence which is very very popular in the corporate world. We have always been doing it like this. So
Correct.
this is one sentence that please remove that from, wipe it off from your life,
Actually,
and build a organization which will adapt to the change, rather than building an organization which is there to last. So
like,
if you do that,
very beautiful. Very short, very crisp, but at the same time, I think a very beautiful and loud message that we give to everyone,
yeah.
including me. I've taken down my notes already.
Yeah. So rather than leading things your way, not listening to people, if you can embrace the differences, and unlearn and relearn, then there is no looking back.
Definitely, ma'am. Definitely. So, thank you so much, ma'am. I must admit that your life journey and successful achievements in career speaks volumes about your work. We've all had plenty of takeaways and actionables to take home. Quoting a professional mantra in your very own words that I read: know your worth, prove your worth, conquer your goals, and empower others along the way. Wishing you huge success, love, and luck your way. Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining in. It was an absolute pleasure. Looking
Thank you
forward to
so
further.
much, Mahima. I'm really thankful to you and the Institute for inviting me. And I think I'm having this pleasure of going FB live for the first time. So thank you for the experience as well. Yeah. Have a
Thank
nice
you so
day.
much.
Stay safe.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Have a great day.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you, ma'am. Looking forward.
Yes.
Thank you so much, everybody.